And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the German Pro Tour player representing Berserker Esports. It is Spatz. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have a big veteran of the scene, of the region. We have representing Team Liquid, the Polish Protoss player. It is MaNa. Here we go again. MaNa has been around for a very long time. He is a very historic player with a legacy behind him, having his own deep runs in WCS back in the day, the WCS Europe region. Very, just having one of the more iconic moments, actually, in StarCraft history. Always going to remember that time. I think it wasn't in the finals. I think it was in the semis, maybe the quarterfinals, when MaNa did win on home ground with the home field advantage, having that moment where his girlfriend rushed up onto the stage and they had a moment on stage as well. Like, that was, yeah, that image is just burned into my mind when I think of MaNa. And I mean, it was a long time ago at this point. I think it was like 2016 or something, like very long time. I'm sure Kura probably remembers a little bit better. 15?
It was 2015 I heard in Krakow.
There we go, 2015. Oh my god, yeah, so I can't believe it's so long. That means, sorry, I thought it was the first year of Legacy, but 2015 means it was still Heart of the Swarm, actually, so a very long time ago.
That was actually the event where the Legacy of the Void trailer was first shown.
Yes, that was it, the first trailer of Legacy of the Void. Oh god, again, just some amazing moments here with MaNa over the years, and we'll see if he can keep those moments going, because Spatz is going for a proxy. Let's go. The PvP, the Spice just doesn't stop here. We're waiting for the Cybercore to finish up. Cybercore is now done. It was a two-gate opener here on the high ground, and we're going for a one-base all-in. Proxy Robo from Spatz. Here we go. Now, we have already had some one-base all-ins tonight, but I don't think we've had Proxy Robo yet. When we saw the one base all-in from Arrowfire, it was a Robo from back at home. This is just that much more committed, that much more aggressive, and MaNa, for the time being, is in the dark. He does know that the pylon is missing. He knows that the second pylon is not in the main, and he's looking for where it could be. Up! And he will come across it from the high ground. He does spot the pylon. He does spot the Robo as well. He's aware of what is going on. And back at home, he's preparing. Ooh, going for a Stargate response. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can go here. Either we can start up Void Ray production, and early game Void Rays can be a very good defensive tool against Proxy Robo. We could even try and be a little bit greedy and go for an Oracle first to get across the map and cripple the economy, and then get into a Void Ray second, which is considered to be a very greedy maneuver, a very risky move, but MaNa could go for it. For now, he's just hunting down these adepts. One adept will fall. Immortal is on the way. And again, Spatz has been found out. I didn't really get to talk much about Spatz, but Spatz himself is also a rising star. He recently, this year, joined Berserker Esports, and after joining it, I would say that he's the ace player on Berserker. The Immortal has arrived, already getting a lot of hits in on one of those Stalkers, zoning MaNa away from his own main base. Meanwhile, no, we're going into Phoenixes initially. This will be a great way to shut down the Prism and to even CC the Immortal. And we're going for it. Here we go. We do commit to the fight. Immortal gets one extra shot in, but we CC it down. Or we do crowd control it. We lift it up, and the Immortal will fall. A big pick off. And now this Prism, what can we juggle? Only Stalkers. MaNa, so far, a solid hold. Looking at the units lost tab here, he traded 2 Stalkers for 1 Immortal and 1 Adept. A good trade for MaNa. And now he has additional Phoenixes on the way. And things are going from bad to worse here for Spatz. Things are not looking good. As MaNa, he bypasses the army. He's going straight for the Robo instead. Uh-oh. We're going to end up in a really awkward situation here. The Robo is going to get depowered, but at the same time, Spatz, he just goes straight for the main. Goes straight for the main base, forcing a recall. Is going to be able to depower some of these gateways. But his own Robo has been depowered as well. Yeah, we're just going straight for the army, straight for these Stalkers. A lot of hits coming in on the Prism as well. And Spatz, he is just, he should be running out of steam here. The Prism up is going to go down just barely with the final shot of that Phoenix. Meanwhile, we can't actually warp anything in. These gateways are depowered, and Spatz does have the Stalker advantage. He does maintain control of the low ground. Behind this, Blink is on the way. There's that safety Void Ray that we were talking about. Void Ray is in production. And we're going to force a cancel. We do force a cancel on the natural. Spatz, he's fighting back. He is fighting back hard. But now he's going to have to respect this position. He's going to have to respect the Void Ray. Back on off. And he's going for his own expansion. And because he forced a cancel on the natural base, like, he can transition out of this. He has a decent Stalker count. He's already working on Blink. Spatz, he's not out of this yet. He may not have killed MaNa, but he has done quite a lot of damage. On top of that, he reset the Phoenix count. Doesn't quite get the gateway in the end. It's tempting. Very tempting to go for the gateway. But Spatz, he backs off. A mature decision. He doesn't want to throw anything away. Yo, Proxy Dark Shrine? No shot. We have a probe out on the map. We have a robot for detection. We have observer potential here. Yeah, all good. we don't have to be that crazy, as MaNa's going to be expanding, taking his natural. Does have a shield battery on the high ground. He is very well set up. And Spatz, he's got a couple of options here. He has 3 gateways of his own. He can go for a proxy 4th gateway and commit. Oh, he dives in. He gets 1. He gets 2 Stalkers. Trades 2 for 1. Good trade for Spatz. He blinks forward. He blinks forward once again. Loses the observer, but he gets another Stalker. Once again, losing one of his own, though. No! Bit of a miss rally. MaNa is holding. And Spatz does have to be careful not to overextend. He's waiting for another wave of reinforcements. He's keeping the pressure on. Of course, that shield battery putting in a lot of work. We have a second Immortal on the way. We're just picking off unit after unit. Against Spatz, he is known for his blink control. He's a very aggressive player himself. Oh, doesn't quite break through. Now with the second Immortal, we cannot break this. Not anymore. With 2 Immortals, a Void Ray, a Shield Battery, and an Overcharge, no shot. And Spatz knows that, so he takes the 3rd. Just to be expanding. His role here is just to contain. Pick off whatever he can, minimize his losses, contain MaNa on 2 bases, and get ahead economically. Behind this, Robo's on the way for our own Observer, Prism. Of course, this Robo not really going to come into play anytime soon. As MaNa is just continuing Immortals. So MaNa, he doesn't have Blink. He won't have a mobile army like his opponents, but he's going to have a very robust army with Immortals. With potentially even more Void Rays, but we're staying on 1. Could work towards Archons early on as well. As MaNa is breaking free, he can even juggle this probe down to expand. But now just moving out with Adepts. Sneaking on past. Charge on the way for Spatz. Templar Archives for Archons, so Charge on Archon alongside Stalkers and not Immortals, but alongside the Stalkers. On the way for Spatz. And it does feel like Spatz has a solid lead here. Rotates around, just making sure there's no 3rd. Meanwhile, speaking of rotating, here come the Adepts. They shade into the natural and they're getting worker kills. Very necessary worker kills. MaNa has been behind for quite some time and he gets 6 and a sentry. Oh my god. 6 probes and a sentry. Really good trade for MaNa. Again, he needed to somehow stabilize, as he's still stuck on 38 probes. Still stuck on 2 bases. And now we're getting into Blink on +1. MaNa catching up when it comes to the tech of his army. Oh, the Prism! Almost caught out. Oh, we get the Void Ray. As MaNa does end up outpositioning his opponent for a moment there. Gets a couple of extra hits in. As MaNa vies for map control. And he should be expanding. Okay, he should be taking that 3rd. MaNa isn't going to be pushing, and this means that Spatz, all of those upgrades are kicking in. +1, charge. It is all coming into play. Oh, so once again, MaNa going to be losing even more units. He still does not have Blink, but now he finally does. Now finally, MaNa, he can keep up with the control of Spatz. He has access to Blink. As MaNa moves out, his third base is exposed. But this may be a one-way trip. We do force a cancel. We go for the recall, and 1, 2, 3 Stalkers go down. 3 additional Stalkers before the recall did complete. That did cost a lot of the army, and here we go. MaNa, he's borderline all in at this point. He's retaking that third, but he's very committed. Here we go, the Prism. The Prism gets caught out. It falls. And once again, MaNa's on the back foot. He's forced to recall. Will he lose the Immortal? He loses 1! A big catch for Spatz. And MaNa is in a lot of trouble. He overextended, lost the War Prism, and he still does not have a third. Meanwhile, Spatz, he can reinforce on the front lines. He can keep on pushing. It goes straight for the shield battery. He can collapse on the Immortals as well. And there's no way to retreat. There's no way to save the Immortals. Spatz, he's snowballing out of control. GG gets called. And Spatz will take game number 1. GG. The ace player for Berserker, Poppy. Popping off. And look, I'm a Damaga fan as well, okay? I love Damaga. Papa Damaga. But Spatz looking strong here, taking game 1. I say looking strong. It was a very close early game. Remember, it was a very tight hold from MaNa, where he barely wasn't able to save his Phoenixes, where Spatz just doubled down and was able to cancel the natural. Canceling the natural was the pivotal moment where Spatz was able to bring it back home and even get ahead economically, something that should not have happened. Ooh. But alas, MaNa just had a few too many losses, lost control of the natural, and yeah, really well done by Spatz, kind of turning what initially was a bad situation into a good one, and able to really flex his aggression. GG, well played. And now Spatz needs one more, uno más, to take the entire series. MaNa, he needs to bring it back here and now. He needs to bring it all back. And we have our map of choice. We're going to be loading in to Oceanborn. Oceanborn is coming up next. And yeah, this is a really scary moment here. Spatz, he went for a one-base all-in initially, and he doesn't have to rely on that again, which could be a good thing for MaNa, right? I'm sure MaNa, he wants a normal game. He wants to get into a 2-base economy, into a 3-base economy, and thrive in the mid-game, I'm sure. Now, to be fair, we have been casting a lot of MaNa recently. We have been covering a lot of the Polish regional events, and in those regional events, as you can imagine, we cast a lot of PvPs. You know, you've got Bappy, you've got Rodzin, you've got Geralt, you've got Art, you've got MaNa, Rail as well. As Rail now lives in Poland. And they face off time and time again, and we have seen MaNa cheese himself. We have seen him proxy. Is that how he brings it back? We'll see. We shall see. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the German Protoss, representing Berserker Esports, leading the series 1-0. It is Spatz. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player from the land of Poland, representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. As we are settling into this so far, I imagine here in Game 2, Spatz won't be going for a proxy robo, but what I would want out of Spatz is to go for a fake proxy pylon. I would love to see a proxy pylon out of the map just to throw it out there, not to commit. We'll see if Spatz does go for that, just to mind game MaNa a little bit, get into his head, play with the series. As again, 2 gate openers all around. No one here is bold enough to try to go for a gate expand. No one is quite Max Pax or Firefly. Those curious, we casted ESL Masters Winter Asia earlier today, and Firefly on this map went for a gate expand. It was crazy. it was wild, Pop. It was wild. But neither one is going for anything as wild as that here. Again, just 2 gate openers, so you're taking our gases. Second pylon is throwing down in the main base for MaNa. Likewise, the second pylon is throwing down in the main for Spatz. He's not going to be playing with his reputation or playing with the series. MaNa doesn't even probe scout. Oh my god. Bold move here. MaNa does not send a probe out, so even if there was a proxy pylon, MaNa wouldn't know about it. Crazy. Very bold move here, and I mean, it's working out. You know, MaNa, I'm sure he's, with his experience, of course, just assuming that Spatz wouldn't cheese him 2 games in a row. So he's blindly just getting into his opener and getting into his game. Now we do have Spatz going for a pylon block here at the natural. Going to try and be annoying. This will also ideally scout the first 2 units. We can see that it's going to be Stalker Sentry from MaNa. Meanwhile, Spatz going for a double Adept. Of course, with Stalker Sentry, you can go for the Hallucination Scout. Expansion gets thrown down, and here come those Adepts. And we're doubling down. We have 2 Adepts, and we have 2 more on the way behind this. 4 in total. Adepts, they threaten the shade into the main base. Shield Battery gets thrown down in time. And of course, Hallucination has been scouted, has been spotted, and cannot be stopped. We're going up to 6. Oh my. We're going up to 6 Adepts here. My, oh my. Spatz throwing down a proxy pylon here to reinforce. Hallucination comes in, is going to confirm the lack of, well, the expansion at least, and the lack of tech for now. As the Twilight Council is thrown down after the Phoenix leaves. Oh no, sorry, as the Phoenix left. So MaNa, he's aware of the Twilight Council. He does know. Now the, oh my, no shot. We're going up to 8, and we commit. We commit to the shade. We're going straight for the Stalkers. 4 Adepts do take down, or they can go toe to toe with these 2 Stalkers. They are being outranged, but that is what the shade is for. As we force a recall, and we do get 1 Stalker. A good pick off at the same time. 2 Adepts shade into the main, but because of the recall, the army is in position, and only 3 probes go down. That could have been much worse. But yeah, Spatz, he committed hard to this. Went up to 8 Adepts. Now, with enough Adepts, even a Shield Battery block and a Pylon block won't be enough. You can actually fight through that. But with this kind of Stalker army, I don't know if we ever really want to commit to anything like that either. There's potential. To throw down that Pylon. Back at home, we're working towards Blink. Of course, Blink is going to be a little bit faster here for MaNa. You didn't have to invest into all these Adepts. Oh, good! Oh! As they do make it into the main. And we do shade into the natural instead, just picking up a couple more workers, recalling back home. Hallucination Scout is coming in. MaNa getting eyes on Blink, confirming it. He's aware he doesn't have to be concerned with defending against Oracles or Phoenixes. He also confirms that there is no fast third. Now MaNa can push out. So MaNa should also recognize that he has the better army. We invested a lot into Adepts, and that means that we have 1 Stalker. And in a head-to-head fight, Stalkers, they do take down Adepts. This is actually a really scary moment. A very scary moment here for Spatz. As here comes the counterattack. We have an Immortal on the way. We have a fake Immortal here, and it does tank a shot. Only 1, though. A couple of shots, actually. Oh, my god. As MaNa does focus it down. Nice hallucination from Spatz. And that is buying enough time for the real Immortal to come out. This was a tense moment, but Spatz should hold. Blink does finish off for MaNa. He's going to be able to retreat. And MaNa is at least containing his opponents. Behind this, he can take a 3rd base. Does snipe a sentry. Very nicely done. Sentry goes down. MaNa, he's going to be trying to slip behind the army. Heading towards that natural. But we're not quite getting a Stalker. Losing his own. Spatz trading a little bit better there. And behind this, MaNa throws down additional gateways, a forge as well for +1. Still no third base, not yet, but MaNa is just waiting for those resources. As MaNa races back home, Adepts, they rock up. They shaded once again. These were the same Adepts from the early game. They get into the main base and they are picking off worker after worker. 5, 6 probes go down. Can we get a 7? Not quite. But 6 workers. Good pickoffs here from Spatz. He does have a worker lead, and now he's pushing out with everything he has. He has 2 Immortals with his army. And MaNa has pure Blink Stalker. We are even in the Stalker count. Of course, Spatz has to be very careful with how he maneuvers that War Prism. Doesn't want to lose it. Not again. Good target firing on that sentry. MaNa, he has 1 defensive Immortal and a shield battery alongside the overcharge. Now, Spatz, he could try to blink into the main. He's going for it. He's going straight for the main base, avoiding the shield battery. And he takes control of the ramp. Focuses down +1. The boys, they have to be pulled. And Spatz is being forced out, but he can just leave. He bleeds out 2 Stalkers, and he gets everything else out of there. I'm loving the use of these Immortals. He has been babysitting them, looking after them. Oof. And MaNa has been outpositioned, rotating back to the natural base. That Immortal taking some hits. He's going to stay alive, and I spoke too soon. 1 Immortal goes down for Spatz. The second is exposed as well, and it will fall. The Prism! Where were you when we needed you most? As the Prism does come back into play. But MaNa does hold. Este Prism. Ay. Some heavy losses for Spatz. But MaNa is still on the back foot, and we dive on top of the War Prism. We focus it down. The Immortal falls as well. And MaNa, does he have enough? He's down heavily in the Stalker count. It looks like Spatz is snowballing out of control. There's just too much red Protoss here. Too many Stalkers. Too much of a lead. And Immortal does come out. But we just dive on it. The Immortal gets focused down immediately. And Spatz, he's looking to make a statement here. MaNa, he may be the veteran, but Spatz is on fire. GG gets